everything's a process. So much like the character of Luke, I'm a few steps behind. It took me a while to. It's like you can't see the forest for the trees. You're so focused on your own part, you don't really see what you're meant to add to the whole. And like I say, it took me a while to get there, but once I got there, I was fine with it. But my initial reaction, it wasn't so much that this closes my story and I'm done. It wasn't that. It was just that I thought that there was a misunderstanding of how I saw a Jedi. And I said to Ryan, this is fundamentally flawed because a Jedi wouldn't give up. That's one of the tenets of being a Jedi. Now, he resolves that, and I eventually don't give up. But I said to him, I said, it would maybe if I took a year off, I could handle this, but 30 years seems like a lot. But look, I mean, I wish in a way that I hadn't revealed my process because it's not meant for the public. And everything you say connected to Star Wars is amplified in a way you don't anticipate. Like I say, I came around, and I just can't tell you how much I admire his storytelling. You being removed from Finn, that didn't feel good. I mean, there's lots of things for each of the actors where you go, I didn't see that coming.
But also what's interesting is because I guess it took us, 6 months from when we read the script to finish filming, it took us a while to reconcile our feelings. It will be interesting to see if, given time, people feel differently about the story.
Yeah.
Because you, I guess, share what a lot of people thought.
Right.
I think a lot of people shared what expressed sort of similar feelings initially. So it'd be interesting to see if that changes over time.
And I love the fact that once the film is set, there's nothing you can change. So I'm sort of reticent to talk about that because it doesn't belong to me anymore. It belongs to the world. I'm more interested in hearing what you think about Luke and Rey and various characters than what I think. But that's the difference here. In the old days, there was an overall outline. This one's more like a relay race where the first guy runs the race and hands the torch off. And then, it's the same with Ryan. Or JJ now is that's going to take Ryan's story and figure it all out. So it's interesting. The new trilogy will be different because Ryan will have an overall outline for all three films. Well, I just thought it would be fun to visit a set that I was so familiar with. I just wasn't expected to. I didn't expect to be so emotional about it. I didn't think it would affect me the way it did, but it was so accurate. Every detail, every dent, oil drip. I mean, they had to reconstruct this thing from photographs and blueprints. It even smelled the same, and I sort of got. It was almost like visiting a child at home you hadn't been to in 30 years. I said, wow. And then my family was with me, plus the documentary crew was shooting everything. And I didn't want to get emotional on camera, so I said, wait a minute, guys. And I went around and sat in the cockpit to compose myself. And I thought, well, I'm good now. And I looked up and I saw those dice. And it just got me again. It was so unusual and unexpected that I would feel moved the way I did. But it was a culmination of all these experiences I had, and then to be back was just too much. I mean, I guess it was all crystallized in my mind in a way it hadn't been before. Well, I don't think it was just me that was surprised. Every character, Rey separated from Finn, and they were so inseparable in the first one. All the characters face challenges that they didn't expect. But that makes for great drama. Without conflict, there's not drama. And, I don't like being pushed out of my comfort zone. I thought, well, Harrison didn't get pushed out of his comfort zone. He's flying spaceships, making wisecracks, and being cynical. Why am I so different? But it's really important for the story. And I came to realize, first of all, it's not my story anymore. We really have to tell the story of the new protagonist. So, eventually you have to trust Ryan because he's the director and he wrote it. And I have such a bond with him. I thought, I don't think this is right for me, but I'm going to do the best I can to realize your vision. Because, I'd much rather be so powerful I have force lightning coming out of my ears. And, when we were doing the 7, Ryan said, oh, and by the way, I might have a couple of boulders floating to show your force emanating. So I was led to believe that I still had the force and that was really strong in me.
Too, because that would have changed the whole story.
Of course. In fact, when I read 8 before 7 came out, I said, what? And I called, did I call JJ or Ryan? Somebody said, to say, are you guys aware of this? Have you seen a cut? Is there floating boulders? They said, no, we caught that and we worked it all out.
I haven't spoken to JJ, but I did a film this year too that is not romantic. I think it's wonderful to have relationships that are not romantic. I don't think in films you always need a romantic relationship, and I think friend relationships can be romantic in their gestures, in their intimacy, in all of that. So I think, hopefully, if Ray and Poe get to have some scenes together and stuff, that there will be intimacy. But I think it doesn't, for me, it doesn't have to be romantic love.